talking about is 2.5 million. The energy industry employs almost 5 times more than the auto industry. However, we in America, we taxpayers, must value the auto industry so much that we have taken our money and bailed them out, while our government increases taxes on the energy industry and kills jobs. How does this make sense? Our next speaker understands this. Michael Williams is the Railroad Commissioner from the great state of Texas. And that has little to do with railroads and everything to do with oil and gas. He also is on the Governor's Clean Coal Technology Council. He understands the role that energy plays in America. I was in Texas last week, and as I talked to people and I shared that I had the honor of introducing Michael Williams, I repeatedly heard statements like, "He is great, you'll love him, and he'll be our next senator from the state of Texas." I'm pleased to introduce to you this morning a graduate of the University of Southern California with a bachelor's, a master's, and a law degree. A man married to his best friend for 24 years, the next senator from the state of Texas, someone who has signed, a candidate who has signed Grover's tax pledge, and a man who knows that energy makes America great. Please help me welcome Michael Williams.
God bless Texas with his own hand, brought down angels from the promised land. Gave up the race.
Thank you. Thank you. Marita, first of all, Marita, thank you. Thank you for that introduction. Thank you for your friendship. And thank you for working on behalf of Americans each and every day to make sure that America has abundant supplies of affordable, clean, and reliable energy. My friends, it is an honor to be with you here today. I come before you today as a 3-time elected member of the Texas Railroad Commission, a body that has absolutely nothing to do with railroads. But we've got a lot to do with energy. As many of you know, and those of you who are Texans in the room, let me first of all say thank you for 3 times in 2000, 2002, and 2008, electing and then re-electing a bald-head guy that wears bow ties and cowboy boots. I thank you. And as you know, I have to thank the man who made it possible for me to be a member of the Railroad Commission in the first place. He used to be the governor of the state of Texas. He's the former president of the United States, George W. Bush. My friends, many of you know that my relationship with the president goes back to 1980, when he and I served as officers of the United Way of Midland together. And while I've run for statewide office 3 times, the first time I put my name on a ballot was way back in 1984, when I ran for a little local office in my hometown of Midland, Texas. And I had a good campaign manager. His name was George W. Bush. And we got stomped in the Republican primary. My friends, as I stand here, I'm reminded of the story of Alex Haley. Somebody asked Mr. Haley, what gave you the inspiration to write Roots? He said, when you go about your business each and every day, you should find some good and praise it. And so, my friends, I'm here to praise some good that you're doing and good about America. I'm here to praise the Americans who know they were created in the image and likeness of God and endowed by him with certain inalienable rights. Americans who understand the sanctity and infinite value of every human life, and who know that human dignity comes not from wealth, position, or power, but from the Father. I am here to praise Americans who've been awakened from a deep slumber after a year-long nightmare of total democratic rule. We're finding our voice once again as Americans who believe the power of government is on loan from the people, and the power is supposed to protect and secure our rights, not erode them. We understand in this room that the Constitution was created to protect us, not to subject us to a despotic central government, and that the principal role of government is to advance the cause of freedom. We know As government grows, freedom contracts. We know that the more we pay in taxes, the less we take home. The more we spend today, the less we save for tomorrow. And I know somebody out there, when I said that, said, you politicians always talk about cutting spending, but you never do it. When I first came to the Railroad Commission of Texas, we had more than 950 employees. We have right at 700 today, because we took your word and your challenge to cut the size of government. Back in 2005, the Texas legislature gave the 8 of us in statewide positions a $32,000 pay raise. And 2 years later, they gave us another $13,000 pay raise. That's $45,000 per year. And I've never taken 1 penny of it. It is so much easier for me to hold the line on spending when I don't have my hand in the cookie jar. My friends, the people of Massachusetts gave us a Tea Party more than 2 centuries ago, and New Hope just 1 month ago. If Massachusetts can elect a Republican to replace Teddy Kennedy, then there is no safe haven this election year for the tax and spend Washington crowd. The theme for today is advancing freedom. And there's no greater challenge and no greater threat to the freedom of American families and American businesses than the fantasy called global warming. And the proposed EPA regulations to control CO2 and the federal cap and trade legislation. And by the way, back home in Texas, we say cap and trade is cap and tax. Cap our jobs and cap our economy and trade our jobs over to China and India. My friends, you know, 2 months ago, the EPA ruled that the air we exhale represents an endangerment to our health. This ruling came just weeks after the so-called science behind man-made global warming came into question because of the manipulation of climate data. It turns out that the scientists in Great Britain, who are connected to scientists in the United States and have received millions of dollars in grants to advance the science of climate change, have cooked the data to back their claim that your activities imperil this earth. It seems that the idea of following the science wherever it leads is not so attractive when the science begins to threaten future research dollars. So data that shows evidence of global cooling has been buried, altered, discarded, with emails and other data destroyed to prevent a public hearing. Don't you think it's ironic that liberals who claim we rushed to war in Iraq without hard evidence of weapons of mass destruction now say, alternatively, we need to rush to pass new climate laws and regulations without scientific evidence settling the matter? You might call this the policy of preemptive warming. But allowing politics to hijack science is not just a scandal because it exposes hypocrisy, but because it impacts the real lives of 300 million Americans. Think about it. Groups as varied as the Brookings Institute on the left, the Heritage Foundation on the right, the National Black Chambers of Commerce have all said that EPA regulations and cap and trade will reduce GDP, will kill American jobs, and will lighten your pocketbook.